I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713 through the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and honest, find a rider. I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, oh. I get those goosebumps every time.
Yeah! Another one!
Get in!
Yes, get in.
Yes, boys. Welcome to Loads of Mag, everyone. After yet another win. Absolutely fantastic. I was at the match yesterday, and I've got to admit...
In the home end.
Do you know, yeah, I wasn't in the home end. And do you know what? I was going to send you. I only got
texted you last
videos.
night. I was like, I see you on the telly. You're in the home end.
I see
I thought you were
that.
telling the truth, Mark. I thought you were telling the truth. I thought, yeah, but yeah.
There was in case Godfrey at the back. I saw him. Yeah, we all saw him.
But no, fantastic. And do you know what? I was sat there and I was thinking, is this the first time I've seen us win at Goodison? But it's not. I remember Hatem Ben Arfa scoring that absolute belter in 2010. So that was, I did see that win. But in recent years, we haven't won in Goodison for a long time.
No, awful record.
And
so the white kit jinx, which was bust last night. Thank God.
Yeah, absolutely. But first of all, how are we, boys? Martin, how are you doing?
I'm good, pal. All set. Yeah, as most people know, me and Daz are traveling tomorrow. Alarm clocks are set.
2 a.m.
Sure, I know. Yeah, mine's a little bit after Daz's alarm. But yeah, all excited. We've been. Most of us have been out to the barbers today. Fresh trims and fades. Bag is packed. Smallest Ryanair cabin bag you will ever fucking see. Whoa, look! Fucking hell's bells. Smallest Ryanair.
I've got hair.
I know, yeah. But smallest Ryanair cabin bag you will ever see in your life. The wife was like, "That's not going to fit." I'm like, "I fucking bought it. It's going in. I am not paying for a bag." So yeah, I'd probably get to the hotel and realize I haven't got half the shit I need. But yeah, all good, great mood. All going well. Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. Looking forward to meeting Daz at the airport. We've been 3 years. We've never met each other fully, and then obviously you two lads as well. I've met Richie. So yeah, looking forward to shaking hands and hugs and getting on the crack for tomorrow. Can't wait. Really excited.
And I'm very. Daz, how are you, mate? You good?
I'm okay. Busy day, Chris. I know you had a busy day as well. But Chris, I'm not okay about this because back in October, let me bring it back. Back in October, I had this kind of buzzing in my ears. But as the weeks and months have gone on, it's got louder and louder and louder. And no one else can hear it, Chris. Chris, no one else can hear it. What's happening, Chris? Yeah, so apart from that, Grant.
Very good, mate. Very good. And Pete, finally, mate. Last but not least, how are you?
Yeah, we're about to delve into what was a superb match last night. As I said to you boys before I went live, I was at a funeral for a family member, which was really sad. Lovely send off. Look, it's great to be around you boys after that and to talk football. So I'm looking forward to it, boys. Cheers.
Good. Cheers, lad.
Good man. Good man. Now, before we kick off into the game, I just want to start off with a little bit of breaking news, which is always nice to do. And us boys were discussing this pre-show, but I just wanted to bring this up for anybody who's missed it or not seen it. It's been announced on the Times today by Matt Lawton that Newcastle have apparently agreed a £25 million a year shirt sponsorship with a Middle Eastern company. We had a little look at this article, didn't we, Mark, pre-show? And it doesn't appear that we know who that company is yet. But obviously, massive news.
It's
The
not a
saltiness
Saudi
is out.
company, apparently, is what's floating around on Twitter this evening. So it's not a Saudi-based company, but it is a Middle Eastern-based company. But 25 million a year puts us up there with the big boys, and obviously helps with the whole FFP. And I think as a couple of more reports are kind of coming through, it'll fall in nicely with the kind of earnings to ratio piece that you have to have for this kind of sponsorship, that it can't kind of outstrip your revenue and all that kind of other stuff. So I'm sure, as we've already seen on Twitter, there will be the moaners and groaners, especially Tottenham fans. Aye, remember 6-1, salty fucks. But yeah, let them moan. Listen, we're on the march, lads. We're on the march. This is just the beginning.
Absolutely. Do you know what? Let's just get into it. I'm afraid, boys, we keep on winning. We keep on winning. There's another photo which we've become accustomed to now this season. This is all we tend to see now with these winning pictures. What I did notice on this one, is a small thing I noticed, Sven Botman right in the middle, right in the front. Normally Sven likes to take a back seat there, so it was nice to see Sven right in the thick of it. But yeah, another win. The final score last night was, as we all know, Newcastle 4, Everton 1. We did all think it was going to be 5-1, but as Fabian Schär said, Dan Burn ruined that with that offside. But no, all jokes aside, absolutely fantastic result for Newcastle. Another 3 points on the board. And I'm going to take this opportunity now just to bring up the top of the league, because we want to see what this league looks like. So that puts Newcastle on 62 points. So we've got a nice little 8-point cushion there for our Champions League heroics. I mean, Martin, I'll start with you, mate. How significant do you think those 3 points were last night?
I think we spoke on at the weekend on the Tottenham game. That Daz was very much, it's a do or die game. Like, we need to win this game, and we obviously did convincingly. I think Everton's always been a bit of a hoodoo place for us to go to. They seem, like last night, welcoming the bus, the blue flares, the sirens going off, coming down the tunnel. Yet again, another club having a cup final. Even Tony Bellew was on Twitter talking about cup finals. I have actually sent him a message today to ask him, will he be delivering the cup up that we won last night? Obviously, will he be delivering that to St. James's on Sunday? He's yet to reply. I'm not sure. So, Tony, if you're watching, mate, listen, send us a DM, mate. But yeah, look, it was a good win. I was a little bit nervous. Everton came out kind of full steam, and you're kind of going, oh, God. It was a bit uncomfortable, I think would be the word I would use, kind of first 15, 20 minutes. They were going at it like a steam train. Couple of good blocks, bodies on the line, couple of good saves. But nothing really. Kind of when Calvert-Lewin went in and Shaw kind of brought him down, I was like, oh, you're wondering, are you going to get a penalty or not? After that, from kind of, 35 minutes on, 40 minutes on, right the way through the second half, it was all us. I think once the first one went in, we were comfortable. We controlled the game. I think I said to I can't remember the word I used. I said to Pete, I think we not only did we control the game, but we kind of had that mentality of, we can make what we want to happen in the game happen. So I think we were very calm, collected, handled the situation well. Their fans were fired up. Obviously, you would have known Chris in the home end. It was probably a bit spiky. But yeah, it was good. So, look, I think what we're seeing for me over these last few games and games coming thick and fast is that, few people last night were bitching about Isak not starting and different bits and pieces. But I think he's been proved right again with his game management, with player management. We all knew that Gordon wasn't going to start. Rightly so. Came on in the end, obviously 4-1 up just to piss the Toffees off even further. But I think the game management and having that squad to rotate helps us through those games. The likes of Target coming back in, I think was good as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Sunday's game. Don't go and screw it up now, Newcastle, while we're all over there, please.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more, mate.
Don't do that.
Couldn't agree more. Now I'm gonna Mark, as you you segued into the game. I'm gonna bring the Newcastle lineup up. So obviously we started with Nick Pope in goal. We had Trippier, Shaw, Botman, Matt Target, Bruno, Sean, Longstaff, Joe Willock, Miggy Almiron, Joe Linton, and Callum Wilson. And then on the bench, we had Martin Dubravka, Jamal Lascelles, Anthony Gordon, which we all expected, Matt Ritchie, Alexander Isak, Javier McNeil, Jacob Murphy, Elliot Anderson, and Dan Burn. Now, Pete, at this point, I'd like to ask, were there any surprises in that lineup? Was that the lineup you expected? I know obviously we did the away days together, but were you shocked? Were you disappointed? How did you feel about that lineup?
I wasn't disappointed, that's for sure. Because I completely trust Eddie Howe in his decision making, 110%. But the only really surprise I've got to say is Matt Targett, because how many times this season have we all called it and said, right, he's getting dropped, Burns not in the team next game, he's out, and then he's in every single time. So to actually see the change being made, it was like, oh, okay. Miguel Miron, top scorer at the time. He was always going to come back into the fold at some point because we know what he gives. So yeah, there weren't really any surprises. But just to add on to what Mark said, really, because there were a few people, umming and ahhing about the fact that Isak's not starting, all the rest of it. We have to get used to this. This is going to happen. When we play European football next season, we're going to have to chop and change the teams to keep everyone fresh because we're going to be fighting on four fronts. So therefore, we need to make sure that we have a team always available. So that's one of the big things. So that aside, Target. Other than that, I was actually really pleased to see Shaw in the team. I was pleased to see that it wasn't anything serious when he pulled up, because I think we all said it. Is that I think Mark, you put it in the chat against Spurs. It was like, Shaw hamstring. Potentially this is bad. But luckily, he was back on. He did have it strapped up though. I don't know if you saw when he came out.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he did have it strapped up, so it was clear, not 100%. But we all know we don't need to be 100% to play against those clowns.
Well, talking about those clowns, I'm going to bring up the Everton lineup. So Everton started in goal with Jordan Pickford. They had Godfrey, Tarkowski, Keane, Mikalenko, Garner-Gay, Onana, Decore, McNeil, Iwobi, Calvert-Lewin, and then their bench was Begovic, Patterson, Gray, Mina, Morpay, Davies, Cody, Garner, and Sims. And Daz, I suppose what I wanted to ask you was, when you saw obviously Newcastle's lineup, and Pete's just mentioned about the changes that were made in key positions. So Miggy coming in for Murphy, and then we had Matty Targett coming in for Burn. When before this game, Daz, were you looking at this team? Did the Everton team worry you? Were you worried about the changes that we'd made? How were you feeling about the game just before kickoff?
I suppose, I wanted to see what Target could do. And now that I've seen it, I want Burn back again, to tell you the truth. But I wasn't worried about everything. But the only reason I was half worried, I said, of the three games, this was the one that was the tricky one. It was because we were away and because what they did to us last year, and they kind of the sucker punched us in the end. And during the match, we were 1-0 up, and there was that moment where they were starting to build a bit of hope. We're looking for that second, and there was that break where Iwobi went down the wing, and Target tried to rugby tackle him, and he did go and pick up a yellow card after that. But and there was a save from Pope. But it was just you could see that the hope was building for them, and we just needed that second goal, which came, and then the floodgates opened after that. But no, not really worried about. So I thought Calvert-Lewin actually did all right, better than I thought he did. He had one or two shots, but definitely still don't want him anywhere near Newcastle.
You know what? It's funny you say that, Daz, because when we away day, Pete and I, when we were talking Mike from the Unholy Trinity podcast for Everton, he mentioned that Calvert-Lewin, could be made available in the summer, and I asked Pete because Pete and I aren't really keen on Calvert. I'm going to start with Martin on this actually. Pete and I weren't very keen on Calvert-Lewin, and Martin, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But Mike mentioned Calvert-Lewin might be available for 15 million. Does that mean anything?
I think with where we are now and where we're heading, the answer's a very clear no. I thought, like Daz, I thought he looked all right last night. I think the problem he's got in that team is he's not getting service.
No.
Everton don't get players around him. They did for that first 15, 20 minutes last night, but you could kind of see on that 30-minute mark, I think, we were kind of texting each other last night. That 30 minutes, Everton ran out of steam. Me and Pete were tweeting away, texting, going, they can't keep this up. They can't keep it up. They can't keep it up. They haven't got the steam to do it. So, and you did physically see them run out of that after about 30, 35 minutes when we played and got that first goal. They literally ran out of steam. They had nothing coming through the middle. So I thought Calvert-Lewin looked okay, Chris. Would we take him now? No, I don't think we need him. I think they'll look at a striker in the summer, but I think it'll be a younger version. It wouldn't surprise me to see them going back for somebody like Ekitike if he comes out of PSG, because I think that, you know, from what we've heard, it seems that there's still an interest in the club in him. So, look, would you be surprised? I don't know, but yeah, I think if Calvert-Lewin goes somewhere else, if he's available, 15 million, yeah, it's probably not a bad price if he's going to be in a team that gets service. I think he'd score goals, but he's not going to come to Newcastle. I don't think. We don't need him. I think we're looking at different levels now, mate.
Yeah, no, man, I completely understand that. Mark, you said earlier on, you know, the first 30, 35 minutes, Newcastle struggled, and I completely agree. That was certainly my impression being at the ground. Like, it was a little bit nerve-wracking because I just don't feel like we were clicking. There was something that wasn't quite right, and Everton still had that opportunity to get in the game. But obviously, on the 28th minute, this man scored, and my God, did we need it. I believe Joe Linton was the one who he had an attempt on goal, and that was parried out, and then Callum Wilson put it away. Pete, how did you feel, you know, when that goal at the back of the net? It wasn't one of our prettiest goals, and certainly not as nice as some of the other goals we're going to be talking about a bit later on. But how significant was that goal for you at that time? And did you, you know, going in, you know, 1-0 up at half time, was that pleasing for you?
Great question. I actually said, I think probably 5 minutes before we scored, I was watching my daughter, and I said, we need to score first, because it was a very bitty game. And look, I have to say, I genuinely believe this. This is not me being biased, but I believe it was a bitty game because we allowed it to. We wanted too much time on the ball. We wanted 1, 2, 3 touches, and we always knew Everton were going to come out the blocks, come out flying, try and press as high as Mark talked about. What was going to happen? And when we were playing it, we were just playing it into areas. We weren't playing it to feet. We weren't playing a normal football. So we almost kind of danced to their tune in that first part of the first half, because we did what they wanted us to do, and we kept giving them possession. But Everton, being Everton, they kept giving us back, and we didn't take the hint that they don't want the ball, you know. So we just needed to be better with it. But it took one moment of brilliance, and I have to say, and genuinely at the time, I don't believe there's anybody else on the pitch that could have done what Joe Linton did. I thought it was an outstanding bit of play. You know, Ben Godfrey's not slow, like Chris, you know, because I know you know you've talked about him. He's not slow. He's actually probably one of the fastest defenders in the Premier League, but he left him for dead. And then the little cutting
twice,
inside,
a couple of times he did it.
Just allowed him to he just ghosted past him, cut inside, smashed it at Pickford. Pickford does it a lot. He just parries the ball out into an area. He doesn't really put it into an area of safety. He puts it into an area. And what do you want in there? You want your poacher, Callum Wilson, in there sniffing about everything. Look, it would have been a penalty even if it had not gone in anyway because of the contact. I think it was Tarkowski. The contact on Wilson would have been a penalty anyway. So either way would have benefited. But it was a great finish, smart finish, exactly when we needed it. And that was the moment for me where the home fans went dead.
Yeah,
and you might have noticed it, Chris, in the stadium. But as soon as that ball hit the net, it was like, oh,
yeah,
because they needed the first goal. We rewind a year to when we were at Goodison Park last year, and if we'd have got the first goal in that game, we'd have won that game too. And it was so crucial that we get the first goal. So the fact that we got it just opened up the game nicely for us. It almost was like for us, for our boys, it was like, okay, we're where we need to be now. Let's start playing. You could almost see Trippier and a few other like talking to each other, were saying, now you do this, you do this. This is what we need to do. Now we're in the position. Really, really important goal, a significant goal, and it allowed everything else to transpire the way it did.
Yeah, Mike Pomar makes a good point there. Oh, it's gone there. Hang on 2 seconds. I'll just stick it up here. Sorry, I'm robbing the comments. Whoever has it.
Yeah, welcome.
He says there what he found interesting last night was that most of our threat came down the left, whereas we've been very
really
much right-hand sided throughout the season.
It's a really good point.
So yeah, great point, Michael.
Well, since we're on Michael here, I want to pick a moment, Michael. Saying I look at Sam. We couldn't have anyone else but Chris host this one. It's the Chris Hall derby, and when the Leicester one, when we play Leicester, it'll be the Pete Davey derby. So I'll hand it over to Pete for that one. So, well, no, I'm definitely not sad. I'm going to be sad.
The thing is, Daz didn't want to be at the top left-hand corner in case anyone's seen he's already got his PJ bottoms on.
Yeah. I actually thought that I wouldn't last the full show because I've got to go straight to bed after this. But yeah. And look, what? Sorry, Chris, I'm interrupting.
No,
here.
go on, mate. Go on.
Actually, there's a few things. Jimmy, thanks for the donation.
Oh, Jimmy,
he's delighted with the victory over his second favorite team. And then there was one here from David Cook. Well, no, I'll go to one from Geordie Toon from Life First. Martin, just look for the draw from the airport. That'll be Daz. We shall see the high thing.
He's taller than me.
And Pete, David Cook says, pack those heels. Yeah, so
the heels are packed. They're just not mine. They're the white.
Yes. That could all change tomorrow night, pal.
But I don't know what Mark's got planned, but yeah, I'm a little bit worried now. I've got to be honest.
Staying upright is my provisional plan. That's about it. Yeah. By the time me and Daz have a few beers, we were just saying the same. He's up at 2. I'm about 2 hours after that. But like by the time we get out, we play the game, and then we get out tomorrow night, eat, and then drinks. Yeah, it'll be a long day. So hopefully we make it through.
Fingers crossed. Well, Daz, I'm gonna move now onto half time. So obviously half time we go in 1-0. Really, as a fan base, we're all delighted and we're thinking, right, come out second half. For me personally, I felt like we kind of come out a little bit in the second half like we did in the first half. A lot more comfortable in terms of the fact we were 1-0 up. But that first 5 or 10 minutes, I was just thinking, oh no, not this again. And then we saw let me just get the timings right because I don't want to get this wrong. Yeah, we saw in the 68th minute Eddie Howe make 2 substitutions. We saw Jacob Murphy come on, and we also saw Dan Burn come on. And for me, that's when I saw like a real turn in the game. Like from your perspective, obviously you were watching it at home. What were your thoughts when those 2 lads come on? Were you pleased to see them come on?
Yeah, I think at half time I called for Miggy. Sorry, I called for Murphy and Byrne and Isak to come on, 3 subs. So yeah, he brought in 2 in that 68 minute at the time, and then I wrote I still kept my notes. But on the 69th minute, Willock had that volley, and if that had gone in, that would be the feature goal as well.
Oh, mate, what an attempt!
Great save by Pickford, to tell you the truth. But yeah, no, that was the turning point, because just before that, 10 minutes or so before that was the bit I was talking about where Target got the yellow card. He got caught, done for pace, and that they were building hope then that we needed something just to dampen their spirits, because just kept thinking, well, this is what they did last year, and they came back at us then. We just need to finish these off now, and we truly did after that. You're going to get into that, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. See, this is why Daz does the match reactions for the hosting, because Daz is really organised. And I'll be honest, I was pretty pissed when I was in that stadium. So all this, I'm reading it back, and I'm like, oh God, yeah, that's when we scored, and that's when that happened, and that. Yeah, I just got caught up in the whole emotion of it. So thank you very much, Daz, obviously, for pointing that out. And for anyone who was interested, Onana did get a yellow card in the 40th minute. We did cheer that, by the way. That was great.
What's his name?
What's your name? But yeah. So anyway, the substitutions were made. Murphy and Byrne came on, and it was weird. It was, for me, it was like a switch flicked. Switch flicked. Yeah, switch flicked. I did say that right, didn't I? But yeah, it was. It just felt like we went back into our recent form. That we saw most particularly against Tottenham. But Martin, Big Joe Linton came up with the goods in the 72nd minute. Talk to me about that goal. What did you think of Big Joe for that goal?
Do you know what I thought? and I know we'll get onto players and stuff towards the back end. I thought probably first half he was probably one of our best players on the pitch. I think the problem's just kind of closing out the first half and into the second. And I think I put this in the group chat last night. I think part of the problem for me with our passing was, as Pete said, we were trying to pass out from the back, 1 or 2 touches, side to side, out to the wings. And it was just like we kept just giving Everton the ball bloody back all the time. And I don't know what it is, but like there seems to be this hesitation sometimes, apart from Trippier, when he actually senses the danger, to just actually hoof the feckin' thing out the way. Botman and Shah at times, I think sometimes we overplay it and give them an opportunity. But I think, look, obviously Willock, after hitting that volley, gets down that byline and chips it in for Big Joe to head in. I think his movement, you know, he when that kind of ball was played in and Willock starts to go, Joe was outside of the box at that point after playing the ball through. So to get out there, get into it, and for Willock to be able to dink that in from where he did, I thought it was just, you know, I think the volley, the way Willock played last night, if he is not getting an England call up shortly, it is criminal, because I thought he was outstanding last night. I thought him and Joe were just world-class, the two of them. But it's a great goal. Joe Linton there, right place, continuing on a good vein of scoring and taking his goals well. Look, we've all said all season long he's a man renewed. Long may it last. You know, get that Brazilian call up, and we'll be getting Newcastle Fans TV to video Daz getting that tattoo on his ass at some point.
You're making up your own sort of rules here now, Mark.
Richie will play it back.
Pete, you will notice
you
Martin mentioned Willock there, and you'll notice today I posted a video in the chat of the Willockino song. Now, you called Willockino on the on the lineups, and I just thought it was because he's great and we love Brazilians and all that. And then I heard the Willockino song live. I was there. Now this song hasn't been out for all that.
He's going to sing it. He's going to sing
it.
What?
So Pete, I didn't know. I did not know that Willockino. The reason you called him Willockino was because of the song. I genuinely didn't know. And then last night, belting it out, was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
It was actually one of the players. I think it was. I'm not sure if it was Bruno. One of the players actually called him Willockino on Instagram in response to one of his performances, and so that's where the Willockino came from.
Okay.
And then they created the name off it. So it was before the West Ham game,
right?
Because we've had Willockino on our tactics board for a while.
Yeah, we have.
But it was only, I think it was the West Ham game where it was first sung, and I think it might have been the West Ham review, or I'm not sure if it's the manual West Ham review. It was one of it, because one of the lads put it on the chat, and I brought it up towards the end of the show, and I sang the song because I'd heard it. And obviously now it's being sung all the time. I remember going into Villa Park. The Newcastle fans are going into Villa Park singing the song about Willockino, and all the Villa fans are going, "Who are they singing about?" Because they didn't know. But yeah, that's kind of where it comes from. But like I said, like Mark said, he should be playing for England. He's outperforming. You know, Conor Gallagher is outperforming Jordan Henderson, is outperforming Calvin Phillips. He's even outperforming some of the left-hand side forwards. I've got to be honest. And the one thing, I don't know if this was what you could ask me, Chris, I apologise, but the one thing I really found pleasing, and you guys have already talked about the strength of that left-hand side, is that we had, in the first half, Joe Linton on the left-hand side, creating a moment of magic to score as a goal, to get a goal scored. And then we have a little switch in play, and almost like Joe Linton starts to play as the inside midfielder. Willock comes out onto the left, and they create a moment for each other. So Willock then does what Joe Linton did in the first half, down the outside, dinks that ball into the back post. Joe Linton finishes, and it's that interchanging and that being able to seamlessly interchange is what is so good about this team, and it's what opposition players find so difficult to pick up. They can't deal with it. They don't know who to mark. You cannot go into a game and say, right, Joe Linton, man mark him, because you don't even know what position he's going to play in, and he could change him from, and you're screwed. You're being pulled out of position. So it's the same with Joe Willock, and it's these little things that we don't notice that make such a massive difference. It's great to see.
Well, I'd saved a question for you, Pete, and I could only ask you this question. You mentioned about Joe Linton putting us 2-0 up, and I'm sure you'll all agree. You know, it certainly felt like to me it was game set match. As soon as it went 2-0, a lot of Everton fans started leaving. But no less than 3 minutes later, we see your man, Callum Wilson, hitting that goal. I mean, Pete, talk to me about it. Like, I didn't know he had that in his locker, I'll be honest. But that was some finish.
What we're seeing from Callum Wilson right now is a Callum Wilson that is under pressure. And some players buckle under that pressure. But Callum Wilson's probably playing some of the best football he's played at Newcastle United right now in this little spell. And it's because he's under pressure. Because he knows if he doesn't perform, Isak is right there waiting in the wings. And if he doesn't score and he doesn't set up goals, Isak will be in the team next game. And he knows he knows now he's second choice. So he's almost fighting to be the main man. And one of the things I found really interesting is that Callum Wilson's on 13 goals this season. Like, he'll want to be top scorer this season to prove a point that he's the top man. He's the top striker at the club. But going back to the goal, everything about it is spot on. Everything about it is perfect. The run from Bruno, the little pass inside. Do not underestimate the quality of Callum Wilson's first touch. His first touch opens the ball out. He doesn't need a second. It opens the ball out. It takes the ball away from the defender. That first touch has everything.
It leaves Keane on a dead spot.
Yeah.
There's no movement. No movement.
Yeah, it just literally kills it dead into a position where the defender's too far away from it, where he's at perfect length to just stroke the ball with his next shot into the far corner. And honestly, it was probably the only place he could have scored. And it was an outstanding finish. Yeah. And it surprised everyone, including Eddie Howe, because you don't see him score goals like that. I mean, he had one 15 minutes earlier when he was running in at the beginning of the first half, and Willock went mad at him because he didn't play it through because Willock was the last man. And he hits a shot and it skies it. And then 10 minutes later, he goes and produces that. And that's a guy that's playing with supreme confidence, but also under pressure right now. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes players play their best football under pressure, and Callum Wilson is that guy right now. It's great to see. Superb finish, two well-taken goals. Top scorer right now, 13 in the season.
It's so refreshing, isn't it, to see two informed strikers, and they're both vying for for the same position. And even at the end, it was nice because you saw Isak and Wilson embrace each other, and you can see that they're just really enjoying, being a part of it. They know that they're in competition, but then at the same time, they're both after the same aim, and that is to get Newcastle as high up the table as they possibly can. And both players are playing brilliantly. So
I don't know if you were there, Chris. So you probably, I don't know if you watched it back on BT, lads. I don't know if you listened to this, but obviously they had an interview with Callum Wilson after the game, and I thought what was really interesting about that is he referred to Alexander Isak as a wide left.
He did, yeah. I was just going to say
funny that interview.
He didn't call him a striker. Yeah, exactly.
And look,
very, very clever.
Chris, you're going to come on to this in a second. I'm going to put this out there right now. I would not be surprised to see another striker come in the summer. I wouldn't be surprised to see Alexander Isak play more games off the left. I think you'll probably see more of it in game, as in the change tactics, and he switches out to the left. But I wouldn't be surprised, particularly in the Champions League, that Isak plays out on the left on occasion, not all the time.
He played there a lot of times for Sociedad last season. On that left coming in with a right foot finish. Played there a lot of games last season on that left coming in.
That interview was so funny with Callum Wilson, though, because it was like Callum Wilson, they were interviewing him and they're talking about the 2 goals, and then they couldn't wait to get on to talking about Isak and what we're going to come on to, that run. And he was like, Callum Wilson's thinking, I'm after scoring 2 goals and still they're talking about Isak.
To be fair, with the ball in from Isak, he was lucky not to get the hat trick because he was only an inch away from it.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, it wasn't far from him, was it?
If it hadn't really taken a deflection from Keane, he would have. That would have been a tap in. You know, would have been.
Yeah, absolutely. Daz, I know you won't want to talk about this, so I'm gonna come to you with two things, Daz, because it's not fair to do this to you. I didn't actually see the Dwight McNeil goal because it literally the ball just got whipped in and then it hit the back of the net and everyone cheered and it was like, oh.
Yeah, sniff from the corner.
Yeah, it was a weird goal. And when I say everyone cheered, I wouldn't say that it wasn't a very loud cheer. I'll be honest. But talk me through a little bit about that Dwight McNeil goal. Was it how did it look at home for you? Like, were you disappointed? Was there anyone particularly to blame? Not that we're here to shoot anyone down. I just wanted to know how the goal was because I'll be honest, I've not seen the goal back. Because when I went to watch the highlights, I seen that part and just thought, fast forward that. I'm not interested.
No, it just as he wasn't trying to do that, but it was a fluke goal. It just went straight in. The worst thing about it is that we didn't get our clean sheet because it was so want to get that clean sheet. And it's another goal from a corner. Anytime we seem to let in something, it's from a corner, but that doesn't even get a touch. It's unfortunate the way that it bounced, and he should have been more clued into it. But it didn't take long for us to cancel that one out straight after a couple minutes later. So.
It absolutely didn't, and so I'm glad you've moved on to that. When I've been uploading me photos, I've called this photo "Let's Talk About Sex, Baby," because I'm not being funny. That's got to be one of the best things that I've seen live at a football ground. It was absolutely ridiculous. And when it went in, we were all celebrating. It was dead funny. The lad who was sat next to me, he said to me about 2 minutes later, he went, "Hey, you scored that goal?" I was like, "Don't know." Genuinely don't. And then we were trying to work it out and we were like, it must have been Murphy. But because Isak had done it, and then obviously straight after the goal, Murphy's like that pointing at Isak, all the players are surrounding him. And like, what was it like to watch that, Daz? Like, what? Because to me in the grounds, we were all literally gobsmacked, and then everyone went bananas, and then we were all still in shock. Like, what was it like for you watching it?
You're just watching it, and he starts on the halfway line, and he just wanders his way through everybody. It was like I can only just if I was to describe it to someone that hasn't seen it, I could only describe it as it's like playing FIFA and you're on beginner mode and you don't realize you're in beginner mode and you're just waltzing around everyone, and he meanders in and out and then goes to the byline, brings it back and cuts it across, as Martin said, try to feed. He had the vision to try and hit Wilson with it and to get his hat trick. He had that, but it took the deflection off Keane and Murphy put it in the back of the net. But I like, as soon as I saw that, I was on Twitter, like, because we're all talking about the resemblance to Henry, and rightly so. But I was like, Messi, that's something like Messi would do. It was that good. And you're thinking, this guy plays for Newcastle, and it's only his first season, and it's just absolutely unreal. And he's only 23. You're in dreamland. It's like a computer game.
And he's equally good on the left wing.
Yeah,
he's just like.
I think if you're Everton fans, though, like when you watch him waltz through there and you see Keane actually step away from him, I could just imagine the Everton fans on FIFA going, "No, go fucking left, go left." It's like, you're trying to get your player to go left, and he's going the fucking reverse. It was like that. I was like, that ball must be out then because Keane's stepping away, and I didn't think it was going anywhere. And then he just carried on. Murphy taps it in, and he's going. Referee goes like that, blows the whistle, points back to circle. I'm like, let's go.
It just went on and on.
It was surreal. I actually thought he was just out, and he was just going to kind of like hit the net and stop.
How many players did he beat? Like in total?
Well, somebody put a picture up on Twitter when he got the ball on the sideline, and the only comment on Twitter on the picture said, "This was a goal." And it was like, it was insane. At least 5 players that he waltzed through.
Yeah,
it was
Pete,
crazy.
I want to hear your thoughts on it as well, Pete. I can't not come to everyone on that because it was such a special goal.
See, you touched on him likening him to Henry. I don't want him to have those.
He needs to have his own tags.
Yeah, because I want him to be. I want him to be
Be
the Isak. and I want people to talk about doing an Isak rather than Henry. But you can't not put him in comparison to Henry, because Henry was doing that in the late 90s, early 2000s for Arsenal.
Yeah.
You look at some of the goals that he scored. I always remember that famous goal that he scored against Tottenham at Highbury, where he literally waltzed round 5 or 6 players and then just like slapped it in the far corner. Obviously, Isak didn't score this one, but the movement, the elegance on the ball doesn't do a lot of the work. He just kind of just glides through players with ease. It looks easy. It's not. It makes defenders look stupid. Everton fans on their channels have just gone out and blamed all their defenders. But when you've got a player that's so elegant and so classy on the ball and makes it look easy, you are going to embarrass defenders. We say it about Messi. We say it about so many other players that are so gifted on the ball. But he is a superbly talented player, and he makes it look easy. For me, I'm pissed off it's not being considered an assist.
Yeah, that's shite, by the
In
way.
the official rules, it does say that if the ball was going to go to the player anyway, which it looks like, even though it's not going in directly in front of him, it's going in his direction, it should be given as an assist. So that's the official rule. So I believe it should be given as an assist, and it should be down as an assist, in my opinion, because he deserves it. And I just watched it just absolutely just gone out. I was just in absolute awe of what he produced. And as Dad said, he's 23, first season in the Premier League. He's not even touched the surface of what he is capable of. And you put him in a full season with regular football, with no injuries, at the highest level, with better players around him, you're going to see him get better and better and better. And I've had Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, Man United fans all waxing lyrical about Isak and saying how good he was. We've known it for months. We knew it when we signed him, because we were talking about him in January 2022, about how good he was and how he was linked with us back then. So he's a player that we've kept an eye on very closely on this channel, and we knew his ability. And look, he plays for Newcastle United, and he is the caliber of player that we're going to be signing, so we better get used to it. But it's just an unbelievable piece of individual skill. It really, really is.
Pete, sorry, what age did you say Isak was again?
I believe he is 23 years old.
Oh, great age. Love it.
I wondered where that was going, and I was thinking, why is he asking that? And then I was on to it.
PTK reminded me when he's speaking about this other chap here. Great age as well.
Great age.
One to look at in the summer.
Well,
shout out to our new member, Dan. Dan the man.
Dan's the man. Dan is the man.
Dan is the man.
Cheers,
And
Dan.
when we eventually have that draw, that members draw,
We keep saying we're going to do it, don't we?
Well,
Yeah.
but we have to add more members, so we'll get that in the list as well, in the wheel.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. We'll get those names added. And on that note, if you'd like to become a member, it's $1.99 a month, and then you will be part of the spinny wheel. And if you haven't seen the spinny wheel, it's something else, boys. Absolutely something else. So yeah, if you'd like to be a part of the Loaded Mag family, it's $1.99 a month, and as I say, you will be eligible for a prize on the membership draw, which we hold monthly now. So if you'd like to get involved, please do. And don't forget, our super chats are open. So if you'd like to make a contribution to the channel or a donation, it's always greatly received by ourselves, the lads. So thank you very much in advance if you would like to do so. Boys, I'm going to fast forward a little bit after that Isak goal. So we're 4-1 up. Everything's looking comfortable. And then this happened. we were all waiting for this. We were all waiting for Anthony Gordon to come on. Will he come on? Will he not? And I think Eddie Howe played it perfectly. You know, we spoke about it on away days, Pete, didn't we? Saying, you know, the ideal time for Anthony Gordon to come on would be, you know, when the game's done and dusted. And the game was very much done and dusted then. Anthony Gordon came on. I thought he did okay, you know, for the few minutes that he was on. Martin, you know, were you encouraged by the few minutes that Gordon played? How do you think that he coped with the atmosphere, and what did you think about him at the end? Because there was a couple of things I noticed at the end. So let me know what your thoughts on Gordon and his performance.
Yeah, I thought he did well when he came on. Look, people harped on about the whole thing, from the Brentford game. He's a young kid. Emotions run high, and I think emotions were high last night. Anybody looking at Twitter, seeing people, death threats and the shit that went on with his car when he left Everton and all the other stuff. But when he came on, I thought he did really well. Like he's got that pace there. He went down the left. He took on a couple of players. It's some good ball in. So I thought, look, there's definitely a player there. I think, Pete makes the point most times we talk about Anthony Gordon. He's a player for next season, really. He's settling in. He's finding his feet. He's learning what to do with the other players. He's learning the house systems. He's definitely getting his fitness up there, because I wouldn't imagine he was at Howe's level of fitness coming in from Everton. So I thought he did really well. I think, look, he was obviously enjoying, when the game finished, he was up there with the away support, and he was dancing away and enjoying it. And I've seen some Everton fans going, he's dead to me now, and why would you do that? I said, why wouldn't he? This is his club now.
He's at a new club.
He's at a new club. So I've no problem. I think he should have been celebrating. I think when you seen him walk into the tunnel, he was celebrating. And why shouldn't he? So yeah, look, fair balls to him. I think he looked really good when he came on. I think he'll be a great player for his next season. So yeah, I thought he done really well. I thought it was a good cameo, and I thought he held his head, because I was half expecting when he came on for one of the Everton players or somebody just to give him a clattering. And, I wouldn't like to think that would go up, or he'd react and get a red or something stupid. But to be fair to Everton as well, nobody did. He obviously got booed coming on, but, I wouldn't even say he heard half of that. I think he's just obviously revved up and keen to get on. So, yeah, I think we'll get more, like Pete says, I think we'll get more out of him next season. I think he will he will get better and better and better once he gets that fitness up. So, yeah. Very happy with him last night.
Yeah. Pete, I noticed at the end of the game, as Martin's picked up on, Anthony Gordon, more so than anybody, it just looked, to me, it just looked like relief. It was as if, like, the shackles have been let off. He's probably been thinking about this game since he signed. He's probably been, panicking about it a little bit. And, he's only a young lad. He's coming back to his hometown. And, Everton are not in a good spot at the minute. But do you think Anthony Gordon can kick on now, Pete? Do you think that, he came on yesterday, and I thought he put in a decent performance. He was getting quite a lot of stick when he was warming up. All the fans were shouting Anthony Gordon. And as I say, at the end, out of everybody, he was banging the front, clapping the fans. And you could tell that he really, really, was grateful for the support that he was getting. Do you think now that we see a little bit more of Anthony Gordon? Just before I answer that question, I just want to say massive thanks to Rich John for his super sticker. Huge contribution to the channel, and you are a huge contributor, Rich. Always in the chat, always asking great questions. So thank you.
Can I ask Chris a question? Is Rich a member? Do you know, Chris?
Well, sure he is he? Rich, do you want a shout out?
And the second part was Unifying the Tune put a question out, and he said we need to do a show where we go through. I'll just steal the chat a second. We need to go through the run of fixtures. Unify. We have already done this. Daz put something together, and we talked about it. We're going to do another run through as we get down to the latter stages. So keep an eye on the channel, because we've already done that. And go back and watch the previous prediction to see how it's come true with regards to that. So one or two were mentioning that in the chat as well. But going back to Anthony Gordon, firstly, I'll say if Anthony Gordon had been given the respect he deserved when leaving the club, by the club, even if it was a goodbye message, he didn't have to get his flowers and gifts and presents and everything, because he did go under a slight cloud. But if they'd have given him a little bit of respect, he would have given them a little bit of respect back. So I don't have any issue with him celebrating whatsoever, and I actually encourage it. I encourage the fact that he celebrated the way he did.
Look at Wayne Mooney. Exactly. We saw what Wayne Mooney did.
Exactly. And so, therein lies the fact that Everton have got history with not respecting their players from when they move on. They don't like it. They think that they're some sort of team that every one of their top players should stay at. No one keeps all of their top players. Nobody. But give them a little bit of respect when they leave. You know, they should have respected the fact that he kept them in the Premier League, regardless of him wanting to leave or not. They should have shown him a little bit more respect as a club, not necessarily the fans. Anyway, going back to your point that you mentioned about Anthony Gordon, for me, I think you will see a little bit more of Anthony Gordon between now and the end of the season. It will be a slow build, but that was a big weight off his shoulders. And to be fair, Eddie Howe in his press conference after the game alluded to it, and he said he wanted to give him minutes to ensure that he's got that feeling of first game back at Goodison, what's it going to be, fans, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Even if it's a few minutes, he's had his booze, he's had his negativity, he's been back to Goodison Park and played on the pitch in the black and white. That's done now. So the reaction going on the next time, and to be fair, it probably won't be for a few years the way we expect it to go. So in that respect, when he does eventually go back to Everton, whenever they do come back to the Premier League, it won't be the same, and he'll be a very different player at that point. So I think it was all round handled perfectly. I thought he handled it perfectly. I thought Eddie Howe handled it perfectly, and I think when he came on, he did some little bits, but as someone said in the chat, the guy's rapid. So he was just running to them down that left-hand side. They didn't know what to do. They were trying to get close to him. They couldn't because he was too quick. I think he just needs a goal and assist or an assist to really boost him. That's the next thing he should be looking for now.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I agree. Daz, I'm going to come to you lastly to finish up the roundup of the game. So obviously Fabian Schär had a goal disallowed, which was very Callum Wilson-esque, wasn't it? So, and it's a big shame that it was disallowed. But could you also tell me as well? And I don't want to do him a disservice. Elliot Anderson came on as well with Anthony Gordon, and so tell me your thoughts on Elliot Anderson. How did you think he did? I appreciate it's only a small cameo, obviously.
Yeah, he did all right. There was so much going on in the game, and I was still thinking kind of in awe after Isak's little mazy run. But no, he did come on. He didn't put a foot wrong. I know put a foot wrong. I know he was kind of ushered out off the pitch as well a bit. With his, getting a bit of heavy handling from the Everton players, but and Schär's goal I only saw it once. I didn't bother rewinding it back then when it was VAR ruled it out, but it was a nice he smacked it in the corner, but I didn't bother watching it back after that, and I was happy enough with 4-1. I'd take that. I would have taken that before the game. So but all we need now is another win on Sunday. I'd be happy with that too.
This is it, mate. This is absolutely it. So what we'll do now, lads, we agreed pre-show that we weren't going to do scores for all the players. One, because they're all fucking brilliant, and second of all, because we're going to wrap the show up pretty soon, because some of us have got a little game on ourselves tomorrow. And for anyone who doesn't know, this is where we're going to be playing tomorrow. At 12 o'clock.
Where's the hospital near that? just for my knowledge.
Look at that view. Look at that view. St. James's Park in the background there. So we're going to be, for anyone who doesn't know, we're going to be playing at the Newcastle United Foundation. And it's a charity game organised by Newcastle Fans TV. So Loaded Mag are going to be playing Newcastle Fans TV. We set a target of £200, and already you can see we're on 641, which is absolutely brilliant. So thank you to everybody who's donated. It's much appreciated.
Much appreciated.
So yeah, we're going to be in Newcastle. For anyone who doesn't know, we're going to be in Newcastle all weekend. So most of us are, well, in fact, we're all arriving tomorrow morning. Different times, but we're all going to meet at Newcastle Foundation at 12 o'clock. If you'd like to come along and watch us for 50 minutes, I can't promise you how good it'll be, but we're all going to be there. We're all going to be playing. At the door. Yeah, and it's a charity game, and we're really looking forward to it. On our team, we've got the likes of Jordan Cronin, we've got Dom Scare, we've got Adam P, and we've got Liam Kennedy as well. So we've got a strong squad of 9. And we're coming up against Newcastle Fans TV. They've revealed a couple of names, but they have held one name back. And I'm a little bit... I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with that, do we, lads? We haven't got a clue.
There somewhere.
But yeah. So, well, anyway, let's crack on. So, in fact, just before we do move on, Mark, am I right in thinking we're all meeting as well on Saturday evening in the Aiken side? Is that right?
Yep, just around the corner. So yeah, we're gonna. I think we've got the charity game, and then for those of us who aren't hooked up to some format of a monitor in the RVI, I think Pete. I think we're gonna go back, get changed and sorted. We're gonna go out and watch one of the afternoon games. I think, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. We're dropping the kids off early morning and then driving straight to Newcastle, so we won't have time to kind of log in to the hotel. So we're coming straight to the football.
Yeah, we are.
Can't get into 3 anyway.
We can't get in. Yeah, me and Daz just had
onto the
permission
pitch.
to drop our bags in a room. So yeah, we're literally just dropping that and sprinting back up. So yeah.
So we'll have to do after the game. We'll have a drink or two. Then we'll
exactly.
head back, log in, and then ready for the evening.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going out. The loaded boys. Sorry, Daz. The loaded boys are going out. And we are going to have a little bit of grub and a couple of vinos ourselves. And then we're going to go a couple of doors up and we're going to drop into the Aiken side and then maybe a couple of others on the way around for about 8:30, 9 o'clock, whenever we get out from a bit of dinner. So, yeah, if you're kicking around in Newcastle tomorrow night, obviously, as somebody said in the chat there, it's payday weekend. So, yeah, feel free. Come on out, join up with us, and we'll have a few bevies and a bit of crack and a bit of laugh. So, yeah, looking forward to it all. Not looking forward to the hangover, but looking forward to it all.
Exactly.
Bit of a walk from the Jesmond Dean, but yeah, we'll manage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
absolutely. So, boys, what we're going to do, quick roundup. So, we're going to pick our man of the match. So, firstly, I'm going to go to Mart. Tell me who your man of the match was from last night.
Oh, plenty to choose from, but purely because of, I think, what he brings to the team and where he is currently as a player, I'm going to go for Joe Linton.
Solid choice, mate. Solid choice. Pete?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Big Cal up front. Big Callum Wilson. 2 goals. I thought not only the goals, but I thought everything about his game, his hold-up play, his ability to shut the 2 centre-backs was absolutely what we needed. We talk about Eddie Howe making those changes. This is why he made those changes, because he looks at a team and looks at what's best fit. And Callum Wilson was best fit last night.
I think that point, Pete, you make there, not a lot of people have picked up on, which was his hold-up play last night against their central 2 defenders and the likes of Decore and Onana in the midfield. He could have got bullied in that, but he didn't. He bullied Onana, and that was why he got taken off. So I think Callum Wilson's his hold-up play last night was outstanding, probably the best I've seen this season from him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Good point.
Daz,
good
yourself,
choice.
mate.
J7 for me. J7 got my man of the match, goal and assist. But yeah, there were so many to choose from, and even I know Isak only came on for a while, but for what he did in that little bit, he could potentially be a contender as well. But not J7 for the overall display during the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
I saved a picture here, and I've called it Dream Boys. And for me, these two.
Let's hope you uploaded the right one.
I know, I know. You know what?
Given your preference for Willie.
Nice little segue there, Mark. I like
that. You thought you got away with it, Chris.
I always like set myself up, don't I? I just don't know why I do it. I wrote Dream Boys. But anyway, these were my 2 players of the match yesterday. And it was Sven Botman and Joe Linton. I thought Sven Botman was just a colossus, absolute colossus at the back. But I've given my man of the match to Joe Linton. I agree with Daz and Mark. For me, Joe Linton, somebody said a while ago, didn't he? Has there been a bigger transformation in football? He's just unbelievable. He's so important to this team. And if Brazil aren't looking at him and thinking we need him in the centre of the park, I don't know what.
He has to be in. He has to be in.
Yeah.
He's got to be in, Chris. Honourable shout out to Bruno Gomes. I thought he was outstanding too.
Yes, he was. He was.
He got an assist as well for Callum Wilson. Honourable shout out for him. I thought he was.
And do you know what? He was really important for us, Pete, especially in those first 35, 40 minutes when Everton kept dropping possession in the middle of the park. Invariably, it was Bruno picking it up and, keeping it simple, getting hold of possession and starting us up again. So, Bruno did a really important job.
And he got a couple of kicks as well and that ankle didn't seem to, I know Eddie, I was talking pre-match about, he kind of is getting a bit of pain, but seeming to run it off quite quickly. I think it was interesting last night that he got a couple of crunches in that midfield, couple of hits, as did the likes of Longstaff, and Bruno just got up and got on with it. So I thought that was really good to see. Hopefully, the likes of Trippier comes out of it. He got a bit of a bang towards the back end. So hopefully we come out and we're unscathed, ready for Sunday to see them all line up while we're there.
Apparently, just to add in there, apparently Joe Linton took a knock.
It's a bit of a muscle strain. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've seen that.
Hamstring. But equally, James Ward-Prowse got injured for Southampton.
Yeah,
he went off at half time. Not looking like he's
wow.
going to play Sunday.
Yeah, I think they have a couple out.
Big threat. His big threat could be out.
Yeah. Happy days.
That's interesting.
Lads, there better be goals. All these goals flying in. And
imagine if it was 0-0. If this is a 0-0,
bloody 0-0.
No, don't even say that. Like we should be saying, if this is a 1-0, I won't be out.
Yeah. We need at least 5. Another 5 would be grand.
3 points, boys. 3 points.
We'll go at them.
3 points.
All right.
And then the last photo I uploaded, and I wanted to end on this, is the main man. Look at that. Job done. I wrote here, how job done. Just look satisfied there. Turn up at Goodison. Go and get your 3 points. March on to top 4.
It wins out of 9.
Yeah,
Manager
8 wins out of 9.
Oh, absolutely. By a mile, Pete.
I said it a long time ago. I said it a long time ago. It's like maybe 2.5 weeks ago. Long time.
Long time in a cat's life.
If Arteta won the league, fine, manager of the year. If he doesn't win the league, Eddie Howe has to win the league, especially if we finish third in the table. People have argued about Unai Emery. He's been outstanding, but even since Unai Emery came in, Eddie Howe's points difference and record has still been just as good, if not better. Eddie Howe getting Newcastle United into the top 4 in any way, 3rd or 4th, deserves manager of the year, no doubt about it.
Yep, absolutely.
So just one from David Cook here. Imagine seeing me walking out with the players on Sunday.
Whose hand was your hold, Daz? If you had to pick.
I don't know.
Hey.
Bruno.
Yeah.
But no, when Pete talked about a good call there, the best call I've ever heard was Pete's when he originally back about 3 years ago he called for Eddie Howe, and boy, he was right.
Yeah, he did.
That's the greatest call ever.
Yeah.
Aren't we loving every minute of this? Eddie Howe is manager. What he's doing is no different to what he did with Bournemouth. He's just more experienced in terms of how he's managing different situations. Best defensive record in the league. Every single pundit, every single person in the media smashed him and took the piss out of him because they were like, Bournemouth conceded loads of goals. Best defense in the fucking Premier League. You know what I mean? Like, what he's done, he's gone and he's refined his management skill, his coaching style, and made himself better. We should be lauding the fact that he's an English manager, making waves in this game. But the fact that he plays for Newcastle, the fact that they don't like the situation about no takeover, is completely diminishing all of the great work. But you know what? I don't care. We'll love him. And that's all that matters, I think, to him. I think that's all he cares about.
I don't think he cares, Pete. I don't think he cares.
I don't think he's bothered about the personal accolades at all. I think it's all about the team. You see that from the photos. He's never in the front.
No.
Thanks to Jimmy for just giving me a bit of advice. Keep away from seagulls. Thanks, Jimmy. Great advice.
That is really good advice, to be fair.
I don't think he means Brighton either.
No.
Daz, I'm unashamedly going to hand over the sponsors to you because I don't want to do our sponsors a disservice. And I feel like I'm totally unprepared for this. So I'm going to hand these sponsors over to you.
Can I just... There was one question in there, and I don't know if I'm going to find it. But Georgia Team for Life said it, and I want you to just answer this, Chris. So, Chris, how did your son and wife take the defeat last night? I think it's only fair that we ask.
It's only fair.
It's the Christmas derby. We have to ask the question.
Yeah, well, Callum was with me. I managed to get him a ticket for the home end, so I met him in the pub after it, and he was just completely dejected. Like, he didn't really want to speak to me. So I played it down a little bit. I didn't go too mad because I think he knows now relegation's a distinct possibility. So he looked completely dejected. Before the match, it was all this. All I was getting all the way in the taxi. Isak's shit or Bruno's crap. And then he ended up with egg on his face at the end of the game. So I didn't give him too much of 11. The wife, she's in a funny position really because she's so used to supporting Newcastle because of me. When Everton play, she's like, oh, it's a bit awkward. Now, obviously, she'll always back Everton over Newcastle, but like she's pleased for me when we win, but then she's gutted for herself and Callum when they lose. So she was pleased when I walked in, but equally gutted as well because she knows that she'll probably be watching Championship football next season.
We'll convert her this weekend. That's our mission.
Yeah,
convert Lisa.
Yeah. She's not far. She's not far. She was adamant she was coming to Newcastle.
A few Sambucas will change that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I hate Sambuca, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not any. Don't be getting
round the 5.
I'm not.
Jaegers though. Jaegers.
I don't do shots, right?
Any kind of
Give me
liquid fuel.
Sambuca,
Yes.
I guarantee I'll be spewing everywhere. There's
Nice
no
one.
way I'm
That's
touching
definitely
it.
straight after the football.
No chance.
Oh, no.
Not a chance.
Round the 5.
Oh.
Light those babies up, bartender.
Give me a nice Kvasse.
We'll get you a shot. We'll get you a shot of brandy. We can do that, can't we?
I'll do that. That's cool. That's cool.
Shot of brandy.
Right, so we'll give a shout out to the sponsors. So shout out to the radiatorshed.com, and hopefully we actually see Russ as well the weekend. He has been busy, and I have been talking to him, and he's hopefully going to join us on Saturday night. But yeah, as we put myself and Pete in jail, but yeah,
I'm normally in jail. This is great.
Yeah, you're normally in jail.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you would have seen, there's a number of new pictures and new radiators, new colors out there. So go check out the latest on the radiatorshed.com. And there's something else special that he's working on at the moment that he will show us in time. And he might talk about it actually on Saturday night. If we're that bored talking about radiators, we're not going to talk about radiators Saturday night. But there he is with Callum Wilson. And yeah, if you need to get them installed, the install works will sort out another one of Russ's companies. And then a shout out to H2O Bathroom Design Co., the Northeast largest supplier of Velcro and botch bathroomware. Team Valley Gateshead, over 20 years established, run by the family. Get down to the showroom on 11th Avenue, Team Valley Estate, Gateshead. And hey, I need another shower. So yeah, go check out the latest on the website, and here's a sample of what they have. If you know someone that's doing up their house, or you need to upgrade in your bathroom, look no further than H2O Bathroom Design Co. That's the sponsors, Chris. I know we have. We said we'd try and keep it tight. We have 34 questions in the chat, but we'll keep it tight.
Can I just say one thing? I massive apologies that we missed this, but Nobby Clark, thank you for your £5.
Cheers, man.
As well.
Cheers,
I think what happened was there was an influx of questions and things that came through, and it got lost in the shuffle. But he put on Isak's run, one camera angle, you see a very brief moment where Keane extends his hand as if to say, "Where the fuck is he?" And it's glorious. I have to watch that. I think we'll have to watch that one back to see that one, because I'd love to see that. But yeah, he definitely left Keane for dead a couple of times. That's for sure.
Can I just make a quick? I've just seen another comment there, and Alan, you've made me laugh there, mate. I'm sure it was unintentional, but you did make me laugh, mate. Alan suggested I give me wife a nice punch. So when I seen that, I thought, wow. But he means give her a nice bunch of flowers in black and white. I'm sure she'll love them. Alan, completely agree, mate. She loves the flowers. She loves the black and white. But yeah, nice. I mean, yeah, that's all I'll say. I'll trip myself up. So that's all I'm going to say.
Again, those that are asking about a review show, we'll do a review show on Tuesday, because we're back on Tuesday. I know it's a bit delayed, but we're going to have some footage from our trip as well, and we'll try and stick that up as well. And maybe the match as well. Who knows? It'll be a mixed bag. So, and we have a pretty busy week next week as well. There's a few shows coming up. Right, what's happening now? It's running slow.
Back into
That's it for me.
Stephen Hawkins mode.
Yeah, my connection was dying. That's it, so lads. I think.
That's it.
Anyone that's around, we'll see them over the weekend. But
we'll see you.
Anyone have any objections? Anyone have any objections if we play out with Isak?
None.
I love how you like that though, Dad. I do love it, and Pete loves it more than anyone.
Well, it's your show, Chris. You choose.
How you like that?
How you like
This for you, Daz.